Today's video is in reference to the shootings that occurred at Tumbler Ridge in British Columbia. This is a horrible tragedy and a community that's going to suffer from grief for a long time. I'm a former funeral director. I'm retired now. I know a lot more about grief than most people. There's a lot of very negative, harmful rhetoric coming out now after this has happened. And I'm talking more to that than to the event. What's going on here is people are blaming a trans person for something that isn't the fault of other trans people. It's the fault of a system that has failed the people it is supposed to help. The problem here is not the trans person who committed the crime. The problem here is the lack of mental health supports that allowed this to take place and the access to firearms. Both of these things should be what we're talking about, not the person, but the conditions that led to what happened. Mental health supports are massively underfunded across Canada, far worse so in places like Alberta and Ontario, where conservative governments are actively gutting healthcare. When you have a lack of mental health supports, you have more violence. That's just the way it is. The statistics on that are very clear. It's one of the reasons why mass shootings occur less frequently in countries that have good mental health support systems baked into their healthcare. This should be a wake-up call to governments of all levels that the funding of healthcare, and especially mental health care, is of the utmost importance. The other aspect of this is firearms. I don't want to take away anybody's guns if they actually have a gun for a valid purpose. If you're a collector who has a historical piece, that's fine. And it's safely stored somewhere, or better yet, displayed in a museum. If you're a farmer who needs a varmint rifle, again, no problem with that, none whatsoever. If you're an enthusiast who wants to go out hunting, I don't agree with you. I don't think you should be going out hunting. But if that's what you enjoy and you're responsible about it, I don't want to take your gun away. But there's a lot of guns out there that don't need to be out there. And there's a lot of people out there with access to guns that shouldn't have it. That's the other thing we need to talk about. Again, all three layers of government have a part to play in this. No matter what happens in the future, there's going to be a certain portion of people that are demonizing trans folks just because one of them committed a mass murder. There have been other mass murders in this country, and our neighbor to the south sees them pretty much on a daily basis. Almost none of them are committed by trans people. This one's going to get blown out of proportion just because of who the assailant was. Trans people represent 0.33% of the population. What that number means is, if you randomly gather up 100 people off the street and put them in a room, it is more likely none of them will be trans than it is that one of them will be trans. That's how rare trans people are in our society. That's how small a minority group they are. We need to help protect people who are in that small a minority population, not demonize them, not victimize them. The people in Tumbler Ridge are grieving, and it will take a long time for them to get over that grief. Let them grieve and make this issue about what it should be about. about the access to guns and the lack of access to mental health supports. Don't make it about trans people. Thank you.